Hello, beauties. Welcome back to Midlife by Human Design. Let's talk about sex. Yep, we're going to talk about sex today. And obviously, many of my listeners now have been in the heated rivalry, what feels like Groundhog Day. So there's maybe a lot more thinking about sex than you have in a while. We all know that hormones in perimenopause and menopause wreak havoc on the sex drive. And sometimes that can mean a whole lot of quiet when it comes to sex in midlife. And I haven't broached this subject yet because I have felt woefully inadequate, to be honest, about being able to address some of the issues that come up in midlife around sexuality. However, when I was thinking about it this past week, I realized that there's a lot that we can take away from our human design in terms of sexuality. So I wanted to dive into that this week. And, if Heated Rivalry has you all horned up and you don't know what the hell to do with it, we're going to talk about that today. And I want you to be able to understand what is happening from a human design perspective when it comes to energetics and electromagnetics and how it works well to approach both other people and then thinking about yourself from a human design perspective. And also, maybe make the case a bit for why midlife could be a beautiful time for a sexual reawakening. So, as I mentioned in the last pod, we've got many, many midlife women who are in the yearn after watching Heated Rivalry and even consistently staying there while they're reheating and rereading, and a lot of women saying that it can't happen for them. They're just too old and they're past their prime and it'll never work, and et cetera, fill in the blank. And I'm going to give you some specific reasons why I think it's so very important for us to stomp that belief, to stop believing it, and to rewrite the narrative around this. First of all, midlife is our wild woman phase. If you're looking at the different archetypes of women, we've got the ingenue, the young woman who is in her spring and fertile and blah, blah, blah. Then if you choose to have children, we move into the mothering phase when we are raising our children. Then we move into the wild woman phase. So technically, the archetypes go maiden, mother, crone, but there's this phase in between being a mother and a crone where it's this reawakening opportunity. And we have so many things working for us in our favor to allow for, to usher in this reawakening, including our hormones and how our estrogen drops off the cliff. And essentially what that allows is for us to not give any more fucks, right? It allows for us to not care so much about what other people expect of us or want of us, which gives us so much more freedom. Women become more themselves in this phase of life. And honestly, how hot is that? I think it's super hot. Authenticity is actually the highest frequency to be vibing at. So if you are being your authentic self, you're being true to yourself, there's nothing hotter. Less people pleasing, more honesty. We have deeper emotional intelligence because we have experience, we have lived life, and oftentimes we have better boundaries. So we have a better understanding of what we want, and we're more willing to say no around the things that drain us. If you're listening to this podcast, then you've heard me talk ad nauseum about the different reasons to say no to the things that drain you, and also why energetically it's so important. And if you've been around a while, maybe you've been practicing that. And honestly, I think that all of those things combined make us all the more sexy. So I want to look at sexuality through the lens of your human design type today. And I think I'm probably going to make this a series and talk about a few different things. But you know me, maybe there will be something that interrupts the series. Who the hell knows? I'll make sure it's in the title so you can find it. So let's talk about manifestors. So manifestors as a type are the initiators. They wait for an urge, and then they have to be allowed to take the reins. And the conditioning around this is that women aren't meant to take the reins, or they're meant to wait to have somebody ask them. And that's true for some types. But if you're a manifestor woman, it's total bullshit. It is not for you. So if you are open to getting jiggy with it, then I'm going to break down for you two different opportunities, if you're partnered or if you're not partnered. So if you are partnered, then I encourage you to experiment with calling the shots in the bedroom. Channel your inner Elia. Initiate sex when you feel like you want it, and don't be afraid about being held back. Don't fall into that people pleasing. And obviously, consent is important. So just because you're initiating doesn't mean that you're not getting consent. But it's important for you as a manifestor to be able to spark, to be able to get the fire going. So allow yourself space and time when you need it, and explain your needs to your partner so that they don't take it personally. Because as a manifestor who does not have a sacral definition, you're going to need time to regenerate, right? If you're partnered with a generator type, then remember you're taking on and amplifying their sacral energy. So you might feel like initiating if they happen to be horned up, which is a great pairing, honestly, for the two of you. If you are not partnered, then I would recommend going for something like Bumble. Bumble is basically meant for you because you initiate the conversation. And don't be afraid to walk up to somebody if you are not playing the app game or don't want to get into that or aren't technologically savvy. Then don't be afraid to walk up to somebody and pay them a compliment. Start a conversation. Take the lead, at the grocery store, in line while you're getting a coffee, whatever the case may be. You are meant to initiate. All right, let's talk about projectors. If you are a projector, you are designed to wait for invitations. So kind of on the opposite end of the manifestor. So having a manifestor initiate, if you have a manifestor partner, then having a conversation with them about them inviting you in. And you also need to be seen for your truth. You need to be recognized. And I think this is potentially where romance comes in, or what we typically think of as romance, because projectors need to be seen. And when somebody is being romanced, the other person is taking care to notice things that are important to them. And if there's a conditioning trap for projectors, it's that any recognition is good recognition. So, for example, if you're not in the mood and if you have a partner, they, want to get it on and there's no foreplay, that is not going to go well for a projector. I think that one of the best ways to engage with a projector is through your voice and compliments and telling them, what do you love about them? Really verbalizing what it is that attracts you to them. So if you are a projector and you have a partner, voicing this and helping them to understand what helps you to get in the mood. I think if there's one thing that women need in midlife, it is more foreplay, way more time spent warming up. So I think it's important, if you are a projector, to be really clear about what works for you. And remember that you need invitations, which can be spoken or unspoken. You can definitely create an invitation through touch or even through a gaze. Those can be invitations too. And if you've been partnered for a while, then you oftentimes understand some of those more subtle cues from your partner. But if you struggle with picking up hints, then telling your partner that you need more clarity. And it could be something as simple as, hey, I noticed you reorganized the pantry today. That is so amazing because now I can find my stuff and I really appreciate you. Even something that feels simple and feels seemingly unrelated to sex can get you there, because you feel so deeply recognized and appreciated. If you are not partnered, then it's really about getting yourself into situations where you can be seen and appreciated and recognized. For example, if you have a specific hobby that you love to do, doing it out in public so people can appreciate you and recognize you. Making contributions in the way that you love to make contributions. You're not going out and doing things for the sole purpose of being recognized. You're doing it for the love of the thing that you're doing. But what I'm suggesting is that if you're not partnered, getting into a place where other people will have the opportunity to recognize and see what you bring to the table, that will truly help you. Whereas something like an app, you could use apps. It's just I wouldn't necessarily be the one to make the first move if you were a projector. Allowing yourself to be invited is the key there. All right. Manifesting generators and generators. With these two groups, I'm linking them together because we're going to talk about the sacral in particular. And as you know, generators and manifesting generators, their strategy is to respond to things. So external stimuli, something outside of you, like the HUD-Con montage at the beginning of episode 2, throwing each other up against the walls, Ilya sending Shane to church, shower scenes to make your toes curl. Like these are things, this is your external stimuli that you are responding to. If you are a sacral being and you think these two lovely young gentlemen are hotter than hot, you're going to have a reaction, right? You can feel it in your sacral. And the conditioning around this, I think, is when you feel that response, that very natural human response is somehow bad or shameful or dirty. And look, if human beings didn't have sex, none of us would fucking be here. So remember that, okay? And I was talking to one of my friends the other day how in movies and film and TV shows, there is such a reluctance to show sex on TV when compared to violence, for example. It's like you can have violence and really gory, horrific portrayals of violence any day, right? All the time. And yet when it comes to portraying people having sex, it's puritanism, purity, like bullshit. And I think that so many generators have been conditioned out of their sacral response because they feel like that feeling is shameful or dirty. So I think one of the best things you can do for yourself is to give yourself external stimuli, like Heated Rivalry, for example, but whatever, it could be anything that you like watching or reading even, or looking at, it could be people watching. Whatever turns your sacral on, I encourage you to do more of that so that you can build a relationship with how it feels. What does your sacral response feel like? And as a generator, there's no better favor you can do for yourself than understanding how your body speaks to you, because this sacral energy is such an integral part of being a generator. So if you are down to getting jiggy with it as a generator type, then this is where we get to play around with the response. And I think about consent a lot, and Ilya is a great example of asking, do you like this? Is this okay? Can I XYZ? Fill in the blank, whatever it is that you want and or whatever it is that your partner is offering you. So you can ask your partner and you can ask your partner to ask you, to give you something to respond to. That, my friends, is so super hot. And if you're tuned into your sacral is going to tell you in the moment whether it's a yes or a no. And then you have to be brave enough to say yes or no. If you're not partnered, then I suggest you get yourself around other people. Look for other people to respond to. Similar to what I was talking about with projectors, getting around other people. For you as a generator, you're looking for other people to have interactions with. Something that's going to turn on your sacral. So if you see somebody in the grocery store, for example, that you keep running into, and the next time you run into them, your sacral gives you a little bit of a hit, like, ooh, maybe a gaze that is held for 1 second longer than is comfortable. Just listening to that sacral nudge, following where your sacral wants to take you. If you have the time, like on a weekend day, to just do like 2 sacral hours and get in your car and see where your sacral takes you, it's such a fun experiment. So those are some things that you can experiment with to see, where is my sacral taking me and what does it feel like? And then quickly, in terms of the difference between generators and manifesting generators, the speed at which they move. So if you are partnered with a generator, they are going to move a little bit more slowly than the manifesting generator is. All right, and then reflectors. Let's talk about you. So for you, remember, your authority is in pattern recognition. Your strategy is in the moon and moon cycles. So you are a different person every day, depending on your environment and the people around you. So what is going to be so, so important for reflectors is making sure that you are in environments where you truly feel the best. Which environment and around which people do you feel really good? Do you feel most like yourself? Because that is what you need in life, and that is what's going to be a real turn on. When you partner with somebody or when you have sex with somebody, you are giving them such a gift, but it also needs to work really, really well for you because you are so, so sensitive. So don't ever compromise, when it comes to spending time with somebody intimately or to partnering with somebody. I think it's really, really important for reflectors to wait until the right conditions, the right person, the right environment makes itself known to you, and then take action, and then don't hold back. Because once you've found it, definitely go for it. And I think that the conditioning that a lot of reflectors can fall into is that they should know who they are and they shouldn't let other people sway you. And it's tricky because that just naturally happens as a reflector, and it's okay. It's not so much that you shouldn't let, others' energy affect you. It's more so that you just need to tune into which energy feels good and which doesn't. And for the energy that doesn't, or the environments that don't make you feel good, then setting some very strong boundaries and staying away as much as possible. So if you are down to getting jiggy with it, remember that if you're partnered, you are likely to pick up and adopt whatever sexual level of sexual need that your partner has. So if they're feeling it in the moment, then you will likely be amplifying that. I would actually suggest that if you are on a heated rivalry bender, that you watch it with your partner. That would probably be super helpful for you. If you're not partnered, then tuning into how you feel around other people and meeting other people, and when you are feeling really good in your body, taking note and trying to spend more time with the people who make you feel so good. You know, if you dig libraries, have a seat at the common table and see what happens. See if you feel really good there, and then look around and introduce yourself. Maybe you love the farmers markets. Visit each of the individual booths. Spend some time in the common area, people watching or being around other people. Notice the patrons. Who's making eye contact? Can you hold eye contact? Whose energy feels good? Can you say hi? Okay? So let's circle back around to midlife women who are incredible partners with our emotional depth, with communication skills that even if they're not perfect, they're still 40 years plus old, right? Another thing we have in midlife is self-awareness, which is so beautiful. Understanding what you bring to the table and where your weaknesses are or where your areas of growth are, and owning up to those and just being honest, because we understand at this phase of life that nobody is perfect, that we are all works in progress. We tend to have a lot more sexual confidence at this age because we've had some practice. We know what we like. And if we don't know what we like, we learn. You know, we go out and we learn about it. And we can be much more open in this phase of life as well because, like I said earlier, we just give less fucks. It's like, sure, I'll go into a sex shop and check out the dildos. Why not? Let's just go do it. Live a little and reject the Puritan bullshit. It's so soul crushing to be there. And then the last thing, of course, are the boundaries that we are able to set in order for our communication to be clear and in order for us to have really meaningful relationships. And I want to remind you that if you want it, it's meant for you. Remember from the last pod, there is some version of you that already has it if it's something that you want. So don't let age or circumstances dictate what is possible for you. So hopefully I'll put part 2 out next week, and I'm going to dive even deeper into the chart for sexuality through your human design. And of course, if understanding your design is important to you, remember it can completely change how you approach not only love and sexuality, but all of the areas of your life. And this is what I do. So if you would like to book a link to have a chat, I will put that link in the show notes. And until next time, I am sending you the strength to let go of what no longer serves you, joy to fill your days, and clarity to be who you came here to be.